I was browsing Reddit, and I don't know how many out there have checked out the subreddit for sales. It's actually a super interesting subreddit. A lot of great stuff on there from different industries, not just software. There's all kinds of great sales advice. Some of it's applicable, some of it's not. But I'm a big Redditor in general. And of course, as a Redditor, I was bound to stumble across the sales subreddit. So a couple weeks back, I was actually on the sales subreddit, and someone asked the question specific to SaaS sales or software sales. They said, is it inevitable to have a career in software sales and just be stressed out all the time? Is it kind of like working in management consulting or investment banking, or insert any other super high stress, high burnout career? And there was a lot of interesting comments on there. I tend to be a lurker on Reddit, so I don't tend to chime in too much. I have made a few posts on the sales Reddit, but on this topic, I just thought I'd stay out of it for the most part because I didn't want my experience to bias anybody. But it's an interesting question. Is a career in SaaS sales, completely linked to having a stressful career? Is that the only way that you can make money in this industry and stay in this industry, is to have a high stress lifestyle and be, working long hours and traveling a lot and high burnout and just all day sprints and things like that? And it reminds me a lot of a quote that I heard from a former manager that he used to say, SaaS sales is a lifestyle, not a career. And I think he didn't even say SaaS sales. He just said sales is a lifestyle and not a career. So think about that for a minute. Sales is not a career, it's a lifestyle. I think that's the exact quote. Sales is not a career, it's a lifestyle. And I'm still on the fence. I think that if you want to be a professional salesperson, especially in software, I do agree that it is a lifestyle. It's something that you've got to put extra hours, extra time, extra thought into. It's definitely not just a 9-to-5 job, especially early on. But even as I get older and more senior in my career, there's still times when you've got to put extra effort towards success, even if that means late nights. In my case, currently, it's early mornings. I've been up since around 5 a.m. my time, just to accommodate meetings that were overseas. It can be late nights. It can be just, intense work, especially as you're working towards the end of a sales quarter or a fiscal year. So there's certainly times when it can be stressful. But there's also been times in my career where I've been well over number early on in the quarter, and I've been able to, focus on my personal health and my mental health. And I know a lot of the most elite sellers that I work closely with have, focused and invested in themselves and in their health and in their, mental health and things like that. So I don't want to just blanket say that, yes, as long as you have a career in SaaS sales, you can expect a lifetime of long hours and burnout and high stress and sticky situations and those kind of things. I don't think it's that way, but I do agree that sales is a lifestyle. It's not a job. It's not a career. It's a way of being. And to elaborate a little bit more on that, as you start to get more further into your career in sales, you start to form habits that are built around being successful in your sales. So, and those can be, health and fitness goals, but they're also just sort of routines and rituals and habits that are going to help you ultimately be more successful by putting the groundwork down. And I'm going to think of let me think of a couple of examples here, or share a couple of examples of where, I think sales is a lifestyle and not just a job or a career. It's a lifestyle when, you're rigid on your habits, and every single day you're putting in the right inputs to get the right outputs. And that may be, making a certain number of phone calls a day, sending a certain number of emails a day, posting content, reaching out to your network, trying to find warm connections. It can take on a bunch of different shapes and forms. But that is, an example of where this is not just your job. It's not just your career, but it's part of who you are. is that you're always, searching your mutual connections, you're tapping your network, you're talking about what you do. You're not necessarily overtly selling, but you're certainly always thinking through how you can get the next deal done, or thinking through who that might help connect you to so and so. And that's when I think it does start to become a lifestyle. Or when, again, your daily habits are all sort of centered around being more productive at selling. And that might be that you're an early riser because that's when you are able to get your calls done, or maybe you're a late night owl and that's when you get your most of your creative work done. So I think the to answer the question that was on Reddit, not always necessarily. I do think this industry can be overwhelming at times, especially as you're getting up to speed and learning your craft. I think you can go through periods where you're producing and you've built the pipeline that is sustaining you. And especially if you can build what's called a rolling pipeline, which is multiple months or quarters out, that's when you're really starting to kind of skate along and life gets a little bit easier. But I do agree that SaaS sales is a lifestyle. So if you're not willing to take this on as part of your life, as part of your lifestyle, and I know that sounds really extreme, but it's true, and to sort of shift your mindset from this just being a job. It's certainly not just a job. And even a career, it's not just a career. It starts to become part of your identity and who you are, especially as you get deeper into it. So sales, SaaS sales specifically, is a lifestyle. Does it have to always be stressful? Not necessarily, but it can be, especially early on. And, hopefully everyone who's along for the ride and having their own journey into this career field enjoys some of that. And I think that's the other mindset shift that you can have is so for example, I'll take a step back here. I've been away on vacation for about the last week and a half, and it was a fantastic vacation. The family and I went up to Yellowstone in Montana. We drove all around the Rocky Mountains. We did some camping. There was a lot of outdoor time. It was great. Got some fresh mountain air. Spent some time outside. It was perfect. But I'm also really excited to be back to work this week for whatever reason. And I shouldn't say for whatever reason, because it's part of that sales is a lifestyle thing. I was excited to get back to my desk and start prospecting. I'm ready to build pipeline. I'm ready to make cold calls. I'm ready to have conversations. And fortunately for me, I got back on a Thursday and was back in the office for kind of a, hybrid Friday, if you will, and had my first discovery call that Friday. And it was a good one. So I clicked right back into work, even though I'd just taken a bunch of time off. I automatically got back into my groove and it felt great. So that, I think, sums it up, is when sales is a lifestyle and not just a career, you actually look forward to getting back from vacations. And that's not to diminish PTO or being out of office. And it's certainly not to promote, being a workaholic or anything like that. But I will say that I genuinely enjoy what I do. So when I do get back from PTO or a vacation or time away from the day to day, I really look forward to getting back at it. So hope that helps someone out there. Thanks for listening. Have a great afternoon.